Well, we're back in greenhouse again this morning. Sunday morning, really sunny, no wind either. But there is definitely a bit of a chill in air. And we've got to keep an eye on that as well as we go over the next few weeks. Because depending on what part of UK that you live in, you could get a frost. And you need to be prepared for that. So start looking through your sheds and find out your fleece and your bubble wrap just in case. We've been away for 6 days and we left all his plants outside. Some in raised beds, some in containers, but they was completely unmaintained. So all we had to rely on was a little bit of rain now and again just to keep these plants going. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop outside and have a little look round and see how things have got on. So what I did is I actually took that huge trough out. It's 5 foot long and we sowed lots of carrots in there. It were a bit of a struggle to carry it out of that greenhouse and get it down here. But there's no way that this would have stood in that greenhouse for 6 days unwatered. And you can see that we've got some really good germination from carrots. And that's 2 rows of resistor fly. But on the other side, we also did 2 rows of Nanti. And although we have got some germination, it really is hit and miss. So that could be down to old seeds. But the carrot tops themselves are looking quite healthy. And so is this blueberry bush as well. That's not suffered at all. The majority of the stuff we put on this table, just bunched them all together and hope for the best basically. But before we look at that, I did put one down here. Let's have a look at these ones. That's that container of lamb's lettuce and spring onions. And they're doing okay. Apart from that one. This one seems to have got damaged. I think it's rotted. It might have got too wet, that. But beside it, this one looks quite happy. And I have got some spare ones, so I can put another one in there in a little while. Well, the T-Rex plant certainly hasn't suffered. It's even bigger. Looking quite healthy. Even though these T-Rex plants are a tropical plant, they can actually stand minus temperatures as well. And that's one mistake that we made. We put the strawberries in a container and I forgot to take them out before we went away. So now this has been sat in water, which is no good for your roots. But strawberries are very hardy, so I'm sure they'll be fine now we've emptied that water out. Well, we've got some onions here. I've got a random plant in this container, which we'll take out. And that's some onions that we put in. And these feel quite damp as well. But they're still trying. I also left a pepper plant outside. That's got damage to its branch. But it has still got fresh growth on it. So we'll leave that, see how that gets on. And a carrot container. It has got a carrot in there, but it's very small at the moment. Tops of them are really healthy, but there's not much to show underneath. There's a bit on that one as well. Keep that buried, stop it turning green. These containers have done really well. That's multi-sown lamb's lettuce. And you can see this is now starting to really fill out with leaf. So that'll be ready for a little harvest of it next couple of days. But lamb's lettuce is really cold hardy. And that's that other container where we took those plants from. We basically pricked some out and moved them on. And this container was then half empty. But over the last week, it's put on extra growth. So it's now started to fill this container out, which is great. That's a container, a little gem. It's not doing bad. Not as good as I wanted it to. But again, there's still a little harvest in there. I've got some spare spring onions just here. I'll take those out and put them somewhere. There's only a couple left.
And then there's beetroot. All leaves are okay. They're not looking the best, and we have got some foliage that's dying back, but that's to be expected. If we take that away, it'll just get fresh growth. But they're still looking quite healthy at bottoms. And that's going to be a multi-sown baby beet container. And that's a Florence red onion container. Just got a start of something there. Some of them are trying to fall over, but again that could have been something to do with wind while we were away. But there is something happening. But onions do take a long time to grow, so we'll have to leave that and see what happens over the next couple of months. This side we've got another carrot container. We've definitely got carrots growing in there. Tops of them are all flopping over, but I think that'll be to do with wind that's blown them apart. But we've definitely got carrots in there as well. But once again, they're just not quite ready yet. So we're going to leave these until all these tops start to die back to get as big a carrots out of it as we can. And I left these peppers outside as well. And these look okay, to be fair. It's actually started to grow a little pepper just there, which we'll be taking off. We don't want to be trying to grow peppers this late in season, so that can come away. But the plant itself looks really healthy, so I'll move that, make sure it gets plenty of sun. That's the basil that we did. It's coming along, very slow growing. I think that'd also benefit from a bit of sun. And we've got some cauliflower seedlings there. They definitely need thinning out if we're going to save them. I don't need many, just a couple, so I might cut the smaller ones away, keep the stronger seedlings, and then get them into a 9-inch pot to grow on. And then we've got this one, and I believe that's kale. And we've got germination, but everything is growing really slowly. So the key at the moment is to make sure they get as much sun as possible. And then we've got another pepper plant. But again, considering it's been outside, it's still done quite well. So that's another one for a sunny spot. So overall, those plants have done really well. Let's go and take a look in that greenhouse, because I did spot something in there yesterday. And that's what's left, are his pepper plants. They've not done very good this year. Something's been eating them just as they start to ripen, and then they just end up rotting like this. This is what we end up with. Water's got in because something has drilled an hole in it and got inside. And that's happened to quite a lot of his peppers, unfortunately. There's another one down there that's gone same. That one's just starting to ripen, but you can see where something's been having a little go at it. That one is ripe. Let's have a look at this one. That one looks alright. So we've still got a nice little red pepper out of it. Albeit small, we got something. There is still a few more on here. They're just not ripe yet. But this is what I noticed on this really small pepper plant. We've got one that's ripened since we've been away, and it's a bright yellow one, which is always welcome. Just makes your salads and stir fries look so much better. Let's get this one off. So we've got a couple of peppers. Now we're back, so that's brilliant.
So it's good to see that while we've been away, these plants have held their own. Nobody's watered them, nobody's tended to them in any way whatsoever. But they've managed to survive 6 days. But we've also got a couple of nice peppers as well, which is always welcome at this time of year. We've got a really nice yellow one and the red one as well. So that's something. But we haven't actually finished yet because we know we've got raised beds outside with a few bits and bobs in it, and we'll be adding a few more things to various containers and maybe in raised beds as well if we have plants left over. But first we'll go down there and we'll take a look at how his cabbages are getting on. And maybe we can also get a couple of carrots for dinner.
Well, that's one of those container cabbages. I just put it outside greenhouse and it has had a bit of damage, but it's still getting plenty of fresh growth coming, so we should be alright with that one. Let's check out these oak tunnels. These are what's left at Savoy's. We've already harvested a couple. You can see these ones have got quite small heads in comparison to that one that we harvested. So we could harvest 3 or 4 really small ones, chop them up, and we've still got a couple of meals out on it. Because, this one is starting to get damaged. So that's not going to be any good soon. If at all now. I don't think it is, to be honest. It's got problems. We'll take that out. And maybe we can get some out of the ones that's left. And there is something else I spotted about this plant. That's a courgette, and it's a round courgette that you get. And that plant is starting to look quite sad. But if we have a dig in here, look down there, and there you can see, look at the size of that. That's a really big courgette. That's the biggest we've had all year, and it's not rotten. Brilliant. And we've also got another one trying to grow outside of it. I think I'll give that just a bit of a clean up, dry it off a little bit in the sun, maybe get rid of some of these leaves as well, so more sunlight gets to everything, cut back all that dead foliage because that attracts slugs. And we've got to send a really good sized healthy looking courgette there. And this one has got as cabbage, carrots and beetroot in it. I've still seen a few cabbage whites around, so we'll have to make sure we put these nets back over. Well, we've got a couple growing in here that look okay, but this one especially, it's got a nice sized head on it, and for me that's ready to harvest now. I mean, why wait for it to get any bigger than that if you only need a small cabbage and run risk or it getting damage. And we've got a couple more beside it. Let's have a look at this one. That one is also not a bad looking one. So we've got 3 or 4 nice looking cabbages in there that we could harvest and freeze. And we've got some more here. These ones are Durham cabbages. That is a really good size as well. That's brilliant, that is. That is definitely ready for us to take an harvest of. So I think I'm going to probably take that today. Maybe that's Savoy as well. But once again, we planted these quite close together because we don't want big cabbages. We're quite happy with a small head of cabbage that we can use up all in one go. So we've still got a few more to go out there. And we've still got beetroot. There's one there. It's quite a good size. You can see that. Quite a few more as well. The leaves are looking a bit raggedy, but that won't hurt them. Just before I went away as well, I put some lamb's lettuce in here just to see what had happened. And they're bigger than the ones that we looked at in that other container. So they're doing well. But have we got any carrots to harvest today? I can definitely see the top of a carrot there. In fact, there's 3 altogether. So I think we'll have a look at these. Even if they're quite small ones, they'll do. But as it happens, they're not. So I think that is dinner sorted. Brilliant. Really nice looking carrots those. Very straight, completely undamaged. That one has got a massive top to it. I've got to have a look at it. The temptation is too much. That's a really nice big fat carrot as well. And that's plenty for dinner. So we'll just cover those carrots back up. We just keep taking a few now and again. And it's really good that you can do that grocery shop from your own garden. And I think I'm going to take this cabbage as well. It looks really nice. Get rid of a few outer leaves. We'll give that a blast with hose pipe, and we've got a really nice little head of cabbage there.
So I'm really pleased that all these plants, left unattended for 6 days, have managed to hold their own. That's brilliant. And a couple of surprises along the way. That courgette's like that. It's the biggest one we've had this year. And it just needs a few more days to ripen. And we didn't even know that were growing because it were buried by leaves. So that's a bit of a bonus for us. It were brilliant to come back and drop on these two nice, healthy looking peppers. We've quite struggled with those this year. And because we're shopping from garden, ready for today's dinner, we've also got ourselves some really nice looking carrots there. Nice big ones, resistor fly these as well. And we're definitely growing these again next year because we've had such good results with them. Nice big thick carrots, perfectly straight, completely undamaged. And then we've got that cabbage. And I always harvest them when they're around that size, because that's perfect for a couple of meals. Even at that size, if you chop it in half, you get 2 meals out of it. I'm just getting that a bit of a wash. That's why it's pouring the water at the moment. But yeah, really pleased with that. Very firm head. So that's another addition to today's dinner. And we've also got bags of blanched and frozen potatoes in there from previous harvests, and we just chopped them into cubes. So we can just take a portion of those out, boil them, give them a mash, and we've basically got all this dinner. I might even add a couple of French beans because we have got bags of those in there as well. So we can just put ourselves together a really nice, tasty, healthy, homegrown meal. And I'll probably just add a small chicken breast to the side of that. And that's a very healthy, nutritious meal we've got. And we're also going to be doing one on Cooking Channel in a day or so using courgettes. And we've got a quick recipe for those and they're really tasty. So if you want to see that, there's a link in the description for Cooking Channel. So keep your eye out for that coming up over the next couple of days. But overall, really pleased with what's happened over last week in our absence. And not only that, to come home to an harvest of fresh homegrown vegetables on top just makes it that little bit sweeter. We've not finished yet though, because we're going to be sowing a few more seeds tomorrow. We want to get some more plants in containers in this greenhouse to try and keep as much growing as we possibly can between now and Christmas. So if you're interested in seeing that video, please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I look forward to seeing you then. Take care.